Hey guys, it's Jaybird here, and today we're going to be continuing our weapons tutorials, and today we're going to be making wall buys. So we're going to be breaking this into three parts. So the first part, we're going to be jumping into GIMP. We're going to be creating an image for our chalk. This is going to be the chalk that is included on the wall buy. And then after that, we'll make our material in APE so that it kind of has the same sort of material that Black Ops 3 uses. And then after that, we will jump into Radiant and make the actual prefab for our weapon that you can place into your map. Alright guys, let's jump in it. So what I've gone ahead and done is I went to Black Ops 3's root folder, texture assets, and then T7 material zombies. And then what you can do is you can find all the chalk drawings that Treyarch has made. So I like to base mine off of theirs. So you can use Photoshop or GIMP or whatever, but I'm going to be doing this in GIMP. You'll notice I got this little error here for dragging that on because it's a TIFF. And it's in a weird format of a TIFF, so it kind of gave me a warning, but it still looks fine. So what I'm going to do here, and you guys can follow along on GIMP, it's a free program, I'll have it down in the description, but I'm going to just right click on the layers panel here, and I'm going to create a new layer, and it doesn't matter what you call it, you can name it whatever, I'm just going to leave it layer. So we're going to start off by grabbing our brush tool, and then I'm going to be using two different brushes, so these two right here. They seem to work pretty well, but we're gonna layer over. The first one's kind of more of a straight outline, so make sure your brush is roughly the same size as, you know, how big the actual chalk is going to be. And I'm thinking 26 is looking pretty good. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, basic controls of GIMP. If you hold Control and you scroll the mouse wheel, it'll zoom in and out. If you hold Shift. Basically, if I click somewhere, left click, and then I hold Shift, basically it's going to draw a line between the 2 points. You know, Control Z to go back and whatnot. So, you know, your basic controls, same as Photoshop and whatnot. But yeah, so here we go. We're going to jump into this. So this is our normal weapon here. So what we're going to want to do is we need a side view of our actual weapon. So let's say, for instance, I'm going to grab the world model, so you guys are probably going to want to have a model for this. In Wraith, I've already exported some of my models, so these are going to be models I'm going to be putting into the game. So let's say, for instance, actually, I'm going to use an Infinite Warfare model. What I'm going to do is take the TAC-19, actually it's Advanced Warfare, I don't know why I have this in Infinite Warfare. So we're going to go into the TAC-19, oop, I actually have the wrong folder open. Where is my Advanced Warfare folder? There we are. X models. And they call the TAC-19 the UTS-19, so I am looking for a world model, which is NPC. And we're going to go with NPC base. Now the thing is, I'm going to be doing this in Maya. For those of you who don't know, Maya is an animating modeling software, so I hope you guys have this, because if you're doing a custom weapon, I have no idea why you're doing a wall weapon in the first place. Okay. Or if you don't have a custom weapon, I should say. So we're going to be opening up this issue with the UTS-19 or the TAC-19 is it comes in parts, so I got to kind of assemble it first. So what I'm going to be doing is getting a side view in Maya of the weapon. You might be able to do this in APE as well, so if you open up APE and you go and you find your world model, you might be able to get away with angling your weapon so it's on the side, but I'm going to get a perfect side view out of Maya, which you could also do in Blender or any other modeling software, so long as you can get an orthographic view, which I'll show you guys how to do in Maya here in a second. So we'll start off by just loading up this. I'm just going to get rid of this output window. So we're going to want to take the renderer and go to Legacy Default Viewport so we can actually get some color out of this. I'm going to go on the side here. If you hit 6, it'll go into colored mode. So you'll notice we got a little bit of color on that. It doesn't really matter if we need color or not, we just need the outline. So you'll notice I'm missing the stock here, so the other part of it, I believe, was mobility operator. So I'm going to drag that guy on. Yeah, that's our stock. So I'm just going to kind of quickly assemble this. Is this bound to it? It is not. Okay, so I'm going to be moving the joint, or the mesh manually, it doesn't really matter. We're not actually exporting the model here. So what I'm going to do is to get an orthographic view, I'm going to go panel, orthographic side, oh, wrong side, orthographic top. Well, it's upside down, but I don't even know what, it'll still work. I'm not too picky. I can flip an image over. So I'm just going to quickly line this up. That looks good to me. So we're from our side view here. I'm going to take a screenshot, use whatever program you typically use. I use Giazzo for my screenshots. I'm going to just quickly take that screenshot there. I can close out of this now. So my screenshot is right here. And what I'm going to do is drag that into our little thing here. And I need to flip that over. So I'm going to, if you need to rotate or flip this, you could use the layer transform. You can rotate it here or you can flip it. So we're going to flip it, and I'm going to drag that to the bottom so I can kind of see roughly. You can change the transparency for whatever one you have selected. I just want to see. Okay, I might need to scale this down. Let's go about 1,000. Let's see how that is. I'd say that's probably pretty good for size. So we're going to bring the opacity back up on that, and we're going to go back to our layer. So now all we have to do is trace our outline of this. So with this brush selected, so this is one of the default brushes. So I'm going to go with the brush, this little default one, and we've already set up our size for this. So what I'm going to do is just quickly, remember what I was saying before, click once and then hold shift, and then you can also hold control to snap to angles. So I'm going to snap to the side here. We're going to go about that far, and just follow around the outside. And we'll probably do another pass over of this again, just to make it a bit thicker. Doesn't need to be perfect, we're just trying to get an outline going. Control Z so I can go back there, because I kind of... So I'm just using a combination of holding shift and holding control, so that way I snap onto the grid and unsnap from the grid. Actually, let's go for a little hair more. Down. And just keep following along this until you get exactly what you want for your weapon. It's more of a tedious thing. It's not too difficult. If you kind of get the idea of what's going on here, you could probably fast forward through this if you don't want to watch this entire process. But we're going to be doing another pass over with the same brush. This is just a rough outline. Okay, we're almost around the outside here. So close. Okay, so now that we've gone through once, you can kind of get an idea of what we're doing here. You might want to do the inner parts as well. So basically, anytime that you see an outline part to your gun, like if there's the gun and you can see the background there, that's usually what you want to fill in. I'm not going to worry about the trigger, I'll just do a circle there, and everything else looks pretty good. So that's kind of the starting to our outline. So I'm going to do another quick loop around with this brush. So really quickly. And the nice thing is going over it the second time gives it a bit more variance to it. And as you guys know, in a lot of my mapping tutorials and whatnot, you know that I like variance. So we'll go ahead and just keep working at this and make our way all around the gun again. And then we'll make it a bit thicker by using our other brush after. So this part obviously is the tedious part, so I'm going to fast forward here, and so that you guys know that this is just the same stuff. Okay, so we're going to be jumping into our second brush here, which is going to be a bit more of a filler one. So I'm going to bring this down a little bit, maybe go to 23, and then try to get this directly in the center of your first two passes, because this is going to be more of the thing that fills in our kind of texture here. So don't worry too much about how bright it is right now. We'll change the opacity of it, because obviously this is like about 2 or 3 times as bright as the ARC or KN44's, the chalk for that one. No, it's all going to be adjusted afterwards. So this is just more getting the actual texture part of it going. The final pass through and everything's going to be done later. And I just realized I accidentally shifted between brushes. I'm like, why is it getting thick there? There we go. Okay, so now that we kind of have our outline going, what we might want to do to make it fill in a bit better is you can take your layer and duplicate it, and it might thicken it out a bit. And what you can do is with the layer that's below it, go to Filters, Blur, and we're going to add a little bit of blur to it. So you'll notice that it's kind of in behind it. So I'm going to bring the opacity of this one down, and so that will kind of fill it in a bit better. We're going to probably blur it. You know what, let's try a Gaussian blur here. So let's go with a 10. That's too much, actually. I'm going to stick to... Actually, and you know what's a nice thing? If you take your fuzzy selector here, and you select the outside, and then all the outside, so it's completely outlined the entire thing. Make sure you get the insides here. So basically what you want to do is select all of the outside and then go selection invert. So now we have all of the white part selected, and we're going to keep the blurred part, and we're going to go back to our Gaussian blur. So now it will blur it, but it won't stick out further. So we're going to go about 15. So that'll help fill it in a bit more. So you can take your box selected, deselect it, and I might bring this back up and actually duplicate it one more time, maybe bring that one down. Let's go about 30. Okay, so now I'm going to merge all these layers together. So I'll go ahead and, so from the top to bottom, we're going to go and take this one and merge it down, this one and merge it down. So I was just right clicking there. So now we just got it on one layer. So you'll notice the opacity of this is a lot greater than the other one. So what we're going to do is bring this down until we get a rough outline to about the same. I'd say that's pretty close. So if you went with about a 40, that's going to be pretty close. So there's one last thing we're going to want to do. You'll notice that they have a bunch of little chunks taken out of it. So we're going to take one more brush and we're going to cut into our brush a bit more. Okay, so what we're going to want to do is grab a brush similar to about this one here. So if you take your eraser tool, and we're going to size this up a bit, not that big. Let's actually bring our opacity up so we can actually see the amount that we're taking out of it. So you'll see they kind of have chunks taken out. They're a lot bigger than the little specks that we had before, so you might want to bring it up just a bit more. Let's do about 160. Actually, let's try 200. I'd say that's pretty good. So I'm going to bring the opacity of this eraser tool down. So let's say about 65. So we're not going all the way through. Nope. 80. That's pretty good. I still want the brush size to be higher actually, so the chunks are bigger. So just play around with the settings here until you get what you want. 90 is a bit too high, so let's go about like 87. 84. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. So you can just go around and just kind of go over the outline here and just kind of erase a little bit of it. And it'll make it a bit more uneven. And then what you can do is bring our opacity back down to match the amount that we have on the ARK here, which seems to be about 50 to 40, somewhere around there. So I think we're pretty good there now. If you want to keep touching it up, then, you know, by all means, it's your image, so you go as detailed and crazy as you want it to be. So we can finalize that last little bit of opacity here. You're going to want to create another blank layer and then merge that down into it. So that way it gets rid of the opacity that we had there. Okay, so now that we have our image, and if you guys are happy with yours, what we can do is export our chalk. You can put it exactly where we got the AEK one if you want, or put it exactly in the texture assets, whatever folder you want to create. So I'm going to go call this ZM chalk by, and this is for the TAC19, so _Z or C. So we'll export this. Compression, you can do whatever you want. They had it defaulted to deflate, so we'll keep the deflate compression. So you can save this template if you want to keep working off it and editing it. But for now, we're going to just minimize that, and you should notice, we're going to just get rid of our screenshot there. If I come back to this folder, and I update the folder again, we should be able to find the TAC19. So I called it ZM, so it's probably going to be at the bottom here. Yeah, ZM chalk TAC19. Alright, so there we go. That's our TAC19 chalk by texture. So now if we go back into APE, you can create a new GDT. We'll call this wall weapons. Actually, wall weapon chalks probably is better. Wall weapon chalks. And we're going to create a new material. So right click, go new material, and we'll call this, actually we'll look up what they called theirs first, because I like to keep convention. So theirs, I believe, are in here. They call them T7ZM chalk by, and then whatever one they're doing here. So I'm just going to right click this, rename, just copy the name of that, cancel, and then I'm going to go back to our folder. So what did I call them? It's weapon or wall by or something like that. Where's our GET? Could have swore I called it wall by or weapon chalk. Chalk. Huh. I actually can't remember what I called the GDT now. Could have swore I called it chalk or something. Okay, well, I can't remember what I just named it, so I'm going to create a new GDT. Whoops. Okay, so we'll call this wall weapon chalks. Yeah, see, it should have been wall weapon chalks. Where is that? Oh, I guess you can't search for GDTs through that. Okay, so that only searches for assets. So wall weapon chalk. Wall weapon chalks. There we go. Okay, new material. We're going to paste in our name here, but I'm going to get rid of the T7 part because I'm not doing a T7 weapon. This is my own weapon. And I'm going to change this to TAC19. Okay. Actually, we're not going to do that. Sorry for confusing all of you. We're going to find our ARK chalk again, so chalk. We're going to copy the actual material itself. So we will go to T7 zombies, and we'll go ahead and actually we'll open up one of these and just copy one of these. So let's copy the CQW there, copy that. Just collapse everything and go to our wall weapon chalks, paste the asset, We'll call this ZM chalk by TAC19, just like before. Ignore this one, the top one was deleted. It'll still show up white though. So now we have all the settings here. All you're gonna have to do now is create one image here, because right now it's using our CQW, which is one of the SMGs there. And if you want to view it a bit better, because right now it's on a circle, you can click this circle and cube here and select plane, and you can kind of get an idea of what it looks like. So we will click this new image icon here, and it should keep your weapon name or your material name properly here. So we'll click OK, so it'll create the image. We'll select the ellipses there. We'll have to go back to the root folder, texture assets, wherever you saved it under here. So ours was in T7 materials at the very bottom. Or maybe it wasn't T7 materials, maybe it was T7 materials zombies. There we go. At the very bottom, ZM chalk by TAC19, so we'll select that. If you go back to our TAC19, you'll notice we have to change the color map as well to our other one, so I just copy and paste it there. And look at that, we got a chalk by. So that is a material. So to get that into in the actual Radiant, it should be this here. So since it's set to a decal, it should be already in Radiant. So if you just go File, Save, there we go, our chalk is done. So that's the first part of this tutorial. The next part is setting up our prefab. So I will see you guys in Radiant because it's going to take a while to load. Okay guys, so I've jumped into Radiant, and so what we're going to do here is we're going to create a new prefab, but we're going to base it off an existing one. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to open up the prefab browser. So if you come up to the top here, right click, come down to prefab browser, there we are. Okay, we're going to go into, I believe it's ZM core, and then we're going to have all our weapons in here. So I'm going to just take one of these guys, doesn't matter which one, and just drag it on. Let that load. Okay, so what I'm going to do was, with this prefab selected, we're going to right click, go prefab, enter prefab, and so now we can edit it. So first off, before I forget to do this, we're going to file, save as, and I'm going to go prefabs. I have my own folder here, and I'm going to go prefab TAC19 and save. Okay, so now we're going to switch it up so this actually is the TAC19. So I'm going to have the struct here, so this is a script struct. We're going to select that, and if you come here, you can notice we have, this is the name of our weapon. So mine is called the TAC19. Name it whatever your weapon is. So that's whatever you have in your script, the same name as your give weapon name. Okay, so we'll hide this one for now, so hit H, and I'm going to select the model. So the model, we're going to want to change to whatever your world model is. Mine is called Weapon TAC19 World. And there we go. So I'm going to just position this so it's a bit more centered. Like so. So there we go. And now we're going to change up the texture to be our texture. So we'll go select all from textures. And I believe I can just search in TAC19 and it should come up with ZM chalk by TAC19. Okay, so we've done that. You'll notice it's not centered at all, so we're going to hit S and we're going to hit both. So now the patch should be represented by the direction that I have this, but you'll notice that it's backwards. So what I'm going to do is we're going to rotate this. So I'm top view, hit R, and I'm going to hit drag and rotate this around. And then I'm going to hit Control I, and now the patch is inverted, so now it's facing the correct way. So with that done, I can now drag this, because I've made it so it's fitted to it, so that it actually fits to the weapon. So we'll just kind of go like so, and voila. I'm going to drag that down one, and we've got a wall by. Okay, so just double check that we have everything done here. Okay, so that is our wall by. So now I'm going to save. Make sure you had changed it already because you don't want to override one of the prefabs. So there we go. So now if we go prefab, leave prefab, so I just right clicked to do that, it should show the original weapon that we have here. But if I go and change this, so I hit N to bring up the entity info, I can go and find weapons, TAC 19, and there we go, guys. That's going to be it for this tutorial. We have wall weapons. So we've done the box weapons, we've done the spinning for the box weapons, we have now done the chocks for our weapons, and the actual prefab for the wall buy. So the next tutorial, we're going to be going over how to make our guns pack-a-punchable, as well as how to apply a pack-a-punch texture to those guns. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next one. See ya.